Everybody, what is up? This is your boy Mike, and I'm back again with another podcast video. Bringing back my homie, Jinson. Say what up.
Hey guys.
So today we're going to be talking about something not too serious, something a little more fun. Funny language learning stories. Do you even have any? You're so good.
No, I do actually. I can remember far back. That's how traumatic these stories can be.
That's funny because your language learning stories probably come from like childhood.
Yes.
My language learning stories come from adulthood and picking these things up. So, first of all, how many languages can you speak?
I speak two, English and Korean.
Okay. Is there one that you kind of like dabble in, or you kind of know a little bit?
No, French I studied in high school.
Really? What's your French? Do you remember any?
Bonjour.
Oh.
Je m'appelle Jinson.
Oh, parlez-vous français?
I can't even say it.
Chokum. Chokum.
Like my French is very low.
It's okay, mine too. I got nothing.
But I love it. It sounds amazing. It sounds beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would one day love to learn it.
I would love to one day learn Spanish.
Yeah?
One day. I feel like as an American, I should learn Spanish.
Really? Yeah. Because you're so close. You have lots of countries.
Yeah, geographically, right? We have like Mexico's right below us, and then Central America, and South America, right? So there's just tons of Spanish-speaking countries, right? And then you have also like the Caribbean, where people speak Spanish. So it's just like,
I get that.
we should know Spanish, right?
We kind of get that. Like I sometimes feel like I should know Japanese.
Yeah.
Because we're so close. But yeah, it's not easy.
Which is funny because Japanese was my second language. It was my second language, and then I came to Korea, still able to speak Japanese. Like people were telling me, like, "Oh, you sound like you're Japanese trying to speak Korean." I was like, "Really?" Like I was told that my first like 2 or 3 years here because I only knew how to speak Japanese, and so I would typically speak Korean with a Japanese intonation, right? And so until I was like told that, I then try to like unlearn the way I spoke Japanese a bit. But I feel like in kind of unlearning Japanese so I can learn Korean, I ended up actually unlearning Japanese. Like it's
interesting.
Yeah, like it's still in here. It just takes a lot to come out. Like a lot. Like I'm playing like Apex Legends, and then like because we're in Korea, there's a lot of Japanese players. And then like I'm trying to speak to them and be like, "Oh, konbanwa. Boku no namae wa Mike desu." Like it's just like the most basic of Japanese.
I think that's the thing about language though. Like even me, I speak English and Korean, but like for example, if I speak a lot of English for a certain amount of time, if I go back to Korean, I feel like even though Korean is my mother tongue and I'm so comfortable using it, I feel like it's like gone down a little bit. And like it feels like you sort of have always an equilibrium in language where you kind of like meet in the middle, and you can't excel at both languages, I feel like. It like if you excel in Korean, your English will go down. I feel like
it makes so much sense though. It makes so much sense because I feel that like my English has at times concerned me because some of the phrases that I would use. Part of it is also being around Korean speakers, like Koreans who speak English, and then like listening to some of the phrases they use, and then like I will end up using those phrases, or like some of the things they use is like a shortcut of what I would say in English. And I'm like, oh, that sounds convenient. And then like I'll end up like saying that, and I'm like, man, what has happened to me? What's happened to my English? Like it's been really bad. Or like on the flip side, then like I'm trying to speak Korean. And then like, cause I watch Korean dramas or listen to music or whatever. And so like, I know how to build in that like kind of like fake Korean intonation. I'll be like, oh, 자기야. Like kind of like that, Like I know how to, like I know how to like kind of fake it. But then like when you speak English and then you switch to Korean right afterwards, especially as an English speaker, then my Korean sounds like I'm speaking English. Like I didn't yet switch to intonation. And so then my Korean just sounds nasty. It's just like me trying to say like, I'm trying to think, what would I say like? Not 뭐라고. I feel like I say like 뭐라고요. Like I learned it. I hear it so many times in like dramas. It's like 뭐라고요. Like it's just like it has like a certain sound to it, right? But then like I don't know. Like you saying like I'm going to the store. Like what would you say anyway? Like
슈퍼 가고 있어.
슈퍼 가고 있어?
슈퍼?
Super. Oh, super. Like obviously you say something like super 가고 있어. But then like it said like super 가고 있어요. Like it's like a certain kind of like sound that it's like a mixed English. And I think what it is it's the tongue.
Yeah.
It's the tongue. Like my tongue is not like working properly.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like I'm speaking. It's like I'm not either like flicking it, not flicking it because Korean doesn't really flick the tongue.
Yeah.
But like with like R's and L's and something like that. And so like funny story, just because we were talking about funny stories anyway, right?
Yeah.
Is I don't know if I can actually tell that story because I have a lot of younger viewers. You know my sushi story.
I don't.
I told you I didn't tell you my sushi story.
I don't think so.
Well, I went with Rose. Okay, Rose and I we went to eat sushi, right?
Yeah.
This is see, I realized also the tricky part about telling the story is I also have to explain it in English,
Yeah.
but you'll get it. So I went to sushi restaurant in Gangnam, right? And
Fancy.
oh yeah.
Fancy.
So it was a nice little kites and sushi, right?
Yeah.
It's the sushi on the conveyor belt and everything.
Okay.
And so you know how we do it.
Yeah.
So like went there, ordered sushi and everything. And typically Rose orders it for me, or if there's a paper. At that time, I would just like kind of just do it on the paper and be like, here you go. She encouraged me to do it on my own. So I was like, cool. And so I wanted salmon chobap, right? And so I said,
I think I know.
you know where this is going, right? And so I was saying like, 연어 초밥 주세요.
Oh no.
I said, 밥 주세요. And the guy, and guys, I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can without sounding terrible in English. But the guy was like, "Ne? Like what?" And then Rose was like, "Yeah, 연어 초밥." So guys, 연어 초밥 is like salmon sushi, right? Like with rice and salmon piece on top. 연어 pop is like
So bad. That's like really bad.
oh, how do you explain it? It's just like
What is an equivalent of that word? I don't even know. Like it's like sucker. Like you. It's like when you're like you suck at something, or you're just generally a sucker. And it's like, but that word contains the really, really bad word
for like
genitalia related.
Yeah. I was on the verge of just saying it for like genitalia, right?
Yeah.
And so mbap is like food.
Yeah.
So it's just like put that together and
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like, oh.
It's a no-go zone.
Yeah, so it's just like the guy was like, what? And I was just like, and Rose was just like, no, chobap. I was like, 연어 초밥 주세요. And he's just like, oh, nah. All right. And then,
Yeah.
even till this day, I am still scarred. I am still terrified of ordering food at sushi restaurant. Terrified. Even though I know I can speak it,
Yeah.
I'm like, Rose, you do it.
Yeah.
Like, I am still terrified of making that mistake.
PTSD.
That PTSD is just, I can't order. Where's my paper? So I can just write it and just give it to him.
That's a tough one.
That's tough, right?
Yeah.
I know you got something.
So, since we're talking about like swear words and derogative terms and whatnot, I have a story. So, this is me coming back from Australia.
Yeah.
So, just a little backstory here. I grew up in Australia when I was smaller. And then I moved back to Korea when I was in high school. And my high school, when I say high school, I mean middle school. So like grade 8-ish. Grade 8, at the end of grade 8. And then, so I moved to Korea and then I was adjusting in a new school and my whole family was like so scared and nervous. I mean, I was okay. I think I wasn't that scared or anything, but my family was.
Yeah.
They were so nervous that what if she doesn't adjust well? What if she can't make any friends? And I was doing okay. But the thing is, our school wasn't in a really good area.
Right.
So like I had a lot of rough kids around me. And they were swearing a lot basically.
Yeah.
And they were saying at the end of every sentence. And it was like just normal. It was very, very normal. So I thought this was how Koreans speak. Like just coming from Australia, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And then one day I come back from school, I have dinner with the whole family, grandma, grandpa's here, my aunts are here as well.
Yeah.
And then I was like, 맛이 없어. And then the whole family just stood silent for like a solid minute. And we actually had to stop eating. My mom was so mad. She like started screaming at me. She took me into the room and started screaming at me. A family outside going, awkward. And like we had to have this whole family discussion of whether I have to come out of the school or whatnot. And I just learnt my lesson there. And like, yeah, it was just a very, very scary moment. And since then, I am also traumatized about swear words. So like, I can't even say the word because I'm like, oh my, like they rooted it into me.
So I'm trying to think. So like the closest way to describe that word, and we won't say it, but the closest way to describe that word is like the F word.
Yeah.
It's basically the F word, right?
Yeah.
So just drop in the F. I can't even imagine. Jinson, I am 34 years old now. Yeah. I cannot imagine dropping the F word at the dinner table.
No.
I can't imagine doing that. I would fear for my life.
Yeah.
From my mom.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Wow.
Because the kids were saying it so much that I thought it was cool. And I thought it was like normal. It was just I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
And so.
Thank Moses, you're still alive. Oh my God.
Thank you.
All right, so I have one other funny story. It's not as, I don't think it's as funny as the last one. It's definitely not as explicit as the last one. I was in the elevator at one time, and I think I know I've told you this story. And I was riding the elevator, and this gentleman started talking to me. And typically, like, people just randomly would talk to me on the elevator, I guess just because I'm a foreign guy, and I'll say something in Korean, and they'll say, oh, you speak Korean, right? Yeah. And so we were talking about America, where I was from and everything. And so I wanted to show similar interest in him and in his background, right? And so I basically wanted to ask him, where are you from? Yeah. Like, where is your hometown? So, and all for our listeners out there, hometown, you would say is probably 고향, right? 고향, right? Which is kind of hard to say. And so, especially for English speakers, ko is the 혀. That's hard to say after 고향, right? Yeah. And so what I ended up saying, so I want to say 고향 어디예요, right? Yeah. But I said 고향이 어디예요? 고향이 어디예요? And he looked at me, and guys, so what that means, my original intent is, where's your hometown? What I ended up asking is, where's your cat? And so he just looked at me.
It makes me laugh every time I hear it. It's just so random.
Like, we're just talking about America. Yeah, America's like this. By the way, where's your cat? And he's like, what?
Imagine this guy, like, not knowing anything. Like, this guy just comes up and asks me about my cat. We were having a fine conversation. Suddenly, where's your cat?
Where's your cat? Bro, where's your cat at? I haven't seen that thing in a while. And he just stared at me. He was just like, that man was so lost.
So confused.
That man was so confused. And I just like, literally, he was so confused. We got to his floor, and he just looked at me and said, have a nice day. And he just walked off. Y'all, he didn't answer the question. He didn't even say, oh, I'm from. He didn't even go there. He was just like, have a nice day. And he left.
You have messed up his entire life. I bet for his entire life, he's questioning himself. Like, what was he saying?
He was just like, that one guy. Yeah. What is it that man wanted to ask me? Exactly. Which I would have hoped. Like, my hope was he would at least be like, he obviously don't mean where's my cat, so he probably just like, oh, where's his hometown? Yeah. But I also learned that whenever you're speaking Korean, these things that we assume that like, oh, he should understand that I mean this, it just doesn't come to people. I guess because there's so many more possibilities it can be. Because like I think about in English when someone who's Korean speaks to me and like 고향 and 고향이, in the sense of the words that they are so far apart. Yeah. Right? Hometown, cat. Context-wise, they're so far apart. Yeah. So like I can't imagine like then like in English me hearing two like I don't know, consumption, constipation. Yeah. They're so different in context, but I can see as a language that kun and the shun at the end, right? The beginning and the end. I can see how people would mix that up.
Yeah, like my mom always mixes up kitchen towel and chicken towel. Like she would always say chicken towel accidentally because
what's a chicken towel?
There's no such thing, but she just says that because like she just
kitchen and chicken.
Yeah, she mixes up kitchen and chicken. So like I don't know. I guess that's
yeah. That's about the same thing. Yeah. I never thought of it that way, but that does make sense. I mean, even though I just said it, I've never thought in English something like kitchen and chicken. Yeah. But it makes complete sense. Yeah. Do you have any other stories?
So I think, connecting to how weird language is. Mm-hmm. So I have a story where this is, again, another story that I experienced when I moved back to Korea. Mm-hmm. And so, you know how in English there's fur and hair is different.
Yeah.
So you can't use fur for human hair.
It's for animals.
It's for animals hair, animal hair. But then like we use hair for this hair and also body hair. Right? So but in Korea there's a word for fur, which is 털, and there's a word for hair, which is 머리. Okay, and so in my head, I went with the English logic, where hair would also 머리 would also mean 머리 on the body.
Yeah.
But in Korean, it's really weird because fur, which is 털, is this. So body hair is 털, and then hair on the head is 머리. And I didn't know that, so I kept calling my hair on my body 머리. And then people would just like laugh at me every time and would always point it out, but I didn't get that connection until like really like it took me a while because you know you can't. It's like as if I said like, hey, your fur is funny today, or like, hey, your fur looks nice today. I kept doing that.
That is really weird, which is, I mean, that's the funny thing about language, but like your mother tongue is Korean, but yet you still mix those up. So it's also really funny how like even as your mother tongue, you can still make those mistakes.
I think so. I think it's like to do with pattern, like the pattern that you're used to.
Yeah.
If you're used to that in English, it can leak into your mother tongue as well, and you just make those mistakes.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm glad we got some good funny stories, some good language stories. And so now I'm also curious, just for our audience out here, like what are some language stories that you have as well? If you're studying Korean right now, and I know a lot of people who watch this channel, they're studying Korean. Do you have any funny stories maybe where you tried out your Korean? Or maybe you're bilingual in another language and maybe you've run into some issues. Let us know in the comments below. And of course, as usual, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, enjoy having you here. And if you guys like the video, please make sure that you, again, smash that like button. Make sure you hit that like button many times. Actually, no, don't hit the like button many times. Just hit it one time to where it's blue. And then hit that subscribe button because these podcasts are fun. I'm enjoying just kind of talking with you and everything. And I'm sure you guys are enjoying it as well. So again, make sure you smash that subscribe button and make sure you come check us out in the future and for future videos. But until then, you guys be cool. Peace.